I'm surprised to see this. It's the middle of the week. It's an ugly confrontation. We normally have this on the weekends. What say you? I mean, I wasn't expecting this.
Well, I think what you have to think about, Stuart, is Beijing made a decision at their summer retreat and of the leadership. And what the decision is to use the Hong Kong police in a much more serious manner than before. Also, I think there is starting to be the little green men problem. In other words, I think they've taken a page out of Putin's book, and you're beginning to see public security personnel from across the border in Hong Kong. So rather than moving in with uniformed PLA or the People's Armed Police that we see at that stadium across the border, I think Beijing is augmenting the Hong Kong police force with people from across the border, and it's going to get rougher.
Now, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has now admitted that, yes, it has detained a British consular official from Hong Kong who went by train into mainland China and then disappeared. Now, they admit that they have detained him. Doesn't this really raise the tension and raise the stakes between Britain, which handed Hong Kong back to China in 1997, and the Beijing authorities, which are detaining a British diplomat? That raises the ante considerably, doesn't it?
It does, and I would add all that is being done against British companies and American companies to pressure them in Hong Kong right now. Cathay Pacific pilots being told to hand over their phones when they get to Beijing so people can look and see if they've been involved in activities. You've seen the management of Cathay Pacific turned over because of this whole thing. There's a multi-pronged approach Beijing now has that's very obvious. Pressure the companies, pressure the trade unions, pressure the Hong Kong police to do more. This is an all-out campaign now across the board in Hong Kong. Use the quote-unquote patriotic citizens of Hong Kong against the students. Use Twitter, use Facebook. We are seeing an assault on Hong Kong now, not with police, or I'm sorry, not with troops, but with all of these other sort of sub rosa ways of putting the heat on.
Okay.
And you're going to see this increase.
Okay. Will it work? You've described very well the increasing pressure, quiet pressure on everyone, trying to squash this movement quietly. Will it work?
I don't think so, because 1.7 million people came out on Sunday in support of this movement. And that is a big part of the 6 or 7 million people of Hong Kong.
Has there been capital flight from Hong Kong? In other words, local people with serious money getting that money out as the tension rises?
Oh, I think people are making those contingency plans. They may not have moved it yet, but they may be working on it. I think foreign companies are now beginning to seriously reconsider their positions in Hong Kong because of this kind of pressure, because some of what Beijing is asking them to do is pretty untenable. For example, firing employees simply for joining the demonstrations. So I think that Beijing is endangering their position in Hong Kong right now through this very heavy-handed set of tactics they're using.
I don't see much difference between the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union and what seems to be a developing new Cold War between America and China. Am I going too far?
I think it's a different kind of struggle because it isn't involving, obviously, massive numbers of nuclear weapons. But there's no question we are in if you will, a Cold War of values. What we're seeing in Hong Kong is the Chinese value system is very, very different from our value system, and it's becoming very obvious and, frankly, pretty ugly. And so I think that Beijing is revealing some of its true colors of the Xi Jinping government right now, and it is going to increase the tension, the aggravation. The fact that the president did come out on Sunday with a strong statement about Hong Kong shows that this issue is moving the American system a bit. And so, yes, I think we're headed to rougher ground in the U.S.-China relationship.